Happy Christmassy Christmas, everybody! Can you believe that it's almost 2024? The year went by so fast, didn't it? I mean, it only felt a couple of weeks ago that Starfield released. But why play Starfield if you can play a better version of it that released 12 years ago?
So, I recently tried Skyrim, a good 12 years after it released, and in my opinion, it is a great Christmas game. I mean, there's nothing better than spending Christmas alone with a hot cup of cocoa and Skyrim on full blast.
I'm lonely.
I have been wanting to try the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim for the longest time. Released on November 11th, 2011. Nice. It was released to critical acclaim, and just like GTA, they just port this game over to every modern console, instead of putting a 6 at the end of the title. The game was officially announced to be in production this year though, so we'll eventually see it. Just like GTA 6. But back to Skyrim now. I can't stress enough how amazing this game is. Every time I boot up this game, I get absolutely sucked into it and lose all sense of time. I have had some instances where I was like, yeah, I can play a bit of Skyrim. At 11 PM, I play for what feels like about 2 hours, and suddenly the sun is already starting to rise. And I am not the only one. For those unfamiliar with the game, which I doubt, it's one of the best selling games of all time, let me quickly roll you through the intro of the game. After you wake up in this carriage, you play as this character, which you can completely customize to your liking. You can play as 10 different races, which all have their own skill. If you are more of a magic user like me, a high elf might be the best race to choose, since you get 50 extra magicka points and a +5 bonus on all spells. I mean, just look at this! This is fun! If you like a more stealthy playstyle, a Khajiit might be more up your alley, since they are really stealthy. Every race has their own buffs and you can choose them based on your playstyle. This also makes it really fun to start a new playthrough with another race that you haven't played as before and try a new way of playing. After you choose your race and customize your look, you are sent to the chopping block for
Existing, I guess?
to be.
Well, guess I've beaten Skyrim. Roll the credits!
But then, just when you're about to be executed, this giant dragon swoops in and just barely saves your life. You follow this Stormcloaked soldier to safety, or you have the option to go to the Imperial outpost. Anyways, you kill some people, move forward to Riverwood to get some supplies to start you off, and you go into the giant open world. There is a story in the game, but it is totally optional to do. Basically, from the moment you escape Helgen, you are free to do whatever you like. I have had 70 hours in this game in total, and I still haven't beaten the main story yet. If you do choose to follow the story, you will go to Whiterun to warn the Jarl about the big dragon that just literally saved your life. You're sent to slay another dragon, you take its soul, get screamed at, talk to these 4 old men that don't talk for some reason, and you learn that you are Dragonborn. It basically means that you can learn words of power, which are words from the dragon's language, and these can be used for shouts that can... And that is only scratching the surface, since that is only the main story. There is a whole other story with a war raging on in Skyrim between the Imperials and the Stormcloaks that later in the game bleeds together into the main story. Later in the game you learn about Alduin, the dragon that saved you earlier, who was seemingly resurrected, but you later learn that he was just sent forward in time.
And oh boy do I like myself some good time travel stories, even just small things like this.
And Alduin has the ability to travel into Sovnguard, the world of the afterlife, to devour the souls of the dead, to get stronger, so you actually attend a whole council to stop the war to be able to defeat Alduin. But outside of the story, this game is still incredible. There are just so many different ways to play. There are swords, axes, maces, greatswords, battle axes, staffs, shields, potions, scrolls, spells, and even more to use in combat. There are also various organizations to join like the Thieves Guild and the Dawn Guard, and lots more. I just finished a Sovnguard quest while filming for this video, and it's an amazing quest line. You're a vampire hunter and team up with Serana, a vampire, to stop her father from literally turning off the sun.
Why would you even want to turn off the sun? Oh, that's why.
And this was originally one of the 3 DLCs for the Xbox 360, which were later all included on the Anniversary Edition, which I'm going to touch on a bit later.
And that's only scratching the surface of what you can do in this game. But sometimes, when you're just taking a break from doing quests, walking around the open world, enjoying the scenery, and then the music starts to hit, there's truly no feeling like it.
Even after playing Tears of the Kingdom, it doesn't come close to the level of immersion that Skyrim has. And the land of Skyrim is filled with NPCs, and a lot of them can give you random side quests, which makes the game a hell to 100%. But even when you're just walking from one place to another, you can take in the scenery, and the world is just so amazing to look at. It's even a wonder that this is even able to run and look as well as it does on the Switch. The game is only a surprising 12.5 gigabytes, which is 2 gigabytes less than Breath of the Wild. Okay, given this game is from 2011 and the original game is only 4 gigabytes. But still, the game manages to look great, especially if you look at the version on modern consoles. Oh my god. And the world isn't small either, it is huge. Only looking at the map alone, you can see that this game is big. And then there are even more locations that aren't even shown on the map, like the Solcairn, Solstheim, and more. These are even more locations you can discover that are hidden from the map's view, but still reachable. Solstheim especially has a lot of its own landmarks and side quests that it just feels like a different version of Greater Skyrim. There are also a lot of caves spread everywhere, and most of the time have a side quest or two related to them. They are basically better versions of shrines in the Zelda Switch games. Don't get me wrong, I love the puzzles in the shrines, especially in Tears of the Kingdom. The shrines can get crazy unique, but Skyrim, it is executed so much better in my opinion. It's a nice change of pace for the game and switch up combat and exploration at a nice pace. Most of the time.
See, there is a type of dungeon in the game that most of the community agrees is one of the worst things in Skyrim.
I always try to tell myself I like Drema Ruins, but I gotta be honest, they are easily one of my least favorite things in Skyrim. They are, a lot of the time, really big and go on for way too long, which my playstyle of checking every single corner for loot, some of them took me hours to get through, and I generally try to avoid them, but if I have a quest that leads me there...
Time to suffer for the next 3 hours.
Now back to what I was saying about the Anniversary Edition of the game. This is a remastered version of Skyrim released on modern consoles on November 11th, 2021, exactly 10 years after it released.
Clever, Bethesda.
3 DLCs, Dawnguard, which I just talked about, Dragonborn, which I just talked about, and Heartfire, which added the ability to buy and customize houses, and even adopt children, are all included on the game. This only adds into the immersion of Skyrim being able to have a whole darn family. It's pretty neat. It also included a couple of new gameplay features like farming, fishing and survival mode, which I also wanted to touch on a little. Survival mode is made for a seasoned Skyrim player and was definitely not intended for me playing the game for the first time. You have to stay warm, eat food regularly, sleep regularly, your health doesn't automatically regenerate, swimming in cold water deals damage, diseases are more severe, carrying rate is reduced by 150 points, and fast traveling is disabled. Okay, look, it can be a lot of fun to play with survival mode on, but take it from me, don't turn it on your first playthrough, please.
But now we have reached a whole different part of the Skyrim community, which is probably still the reason this community is thriving to this very day.
Remember earlier this year when Nintendo took down Breath of the Wild modding videos? Not even how to install the mods, just people messing around in multiplayer? Well, Skyrim full on embraces mods to the point that they are even on consoles. Except for the Switch, but it's the Switch, so I kind of understand. There are so many mods out there, ranging from a simple map upgrade to mods that completely change the way you play the game. Like, I found this mod that adds guns.
What the actual fuck?
There was an update earlier this month that started a huge debate online though, and this is the new Creation Club program. Mod creators can now get monetized for their mods, and let me just clear things out and say, yeah, this is stupid. I get that some people put a lot of time into their mods, but come on, mods should just be free, not paid DLC. Bethesda tried this before, back in 2015, and it only lasted a couple days. I've seen people online clarify that they will never monetize their mods, which is great, but the whole Creation Club program doesn't seem consumer friendly to me at all.
Okay, but like I said, the Switch version doesn't have mods, but it does have some other cool stuff to compensate for it.
You can get some extra goodies by scanning Amiibo. It works practically the same as it does in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where a chest just drops out of the sky. But when you scan a Zelda series Amiibo though, you can get the Champion's Tunic, the Hylian Shield, and a Master Sword from Breath of the Wild. Oh my god. As a Zelda fan, this is awesome, and it looks straight out of Breath of the Wild as well. This is so cool, I can finally defeat a dragon while cosplaying as Link. Another thing exclusive to the Switch is motion controls, and as your favorite Splatoon addict, I appreciate it so much. When aiming your bow or charging a spell, you can make slight adjustments to make hitting faraway shots just a bit easier.
Now I could talk about this game for hours on end, but I still have to get out of bed today, so I have prepared a list of things I still wanted to quickly talk about. Here we go.
Fighting dragons in this game feels amazing. They can swoop down at any moment, like the guards say, and when fighting them, the music ramps up and all makes for a crazy fight. And when you defeat him, damn. The skill tree and the way you level up in this game are very well done. All skills like one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, all sorts of magic, and even speaking to NPCs all have their own level up system and skill tree, and when you level one of them up, they will all contribute to your overall level. Once you level up, you get a skill point to add plus 10 to your health, stamina or magicka, and level up one of your skills in the skill tree. It's one of the best level up systems I have seen done in any game, and really easy to understand, unlike a lot of other skill trees, which made me wonder how much Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom could have benefited from a skill tree instead of a stupid weapon degradation system. Now, given Skyrim is an RPG and Zelda isn't, I understand that Zelda doesn't need a level up system, but Zelda 2 had it, but seeing as the developers openly said that it is the worst Zelda game, the weapon degradation is probably the best that they could have done.
But The Legend of Zelda is a whole other story, and it's great in its own worth, so let me just take off these Nintendo glasses again and get back to the list, shall we?
You can enchant your weapons and armor, which can get crazy good when you're at a high level, and with potions the same thing. You can make potions that do some crazy stuff, and poison that makes the enemy do some crazy stuff. Now, I don't really use potions since, like I said, I'm more of a mage in this game. So most of the time I'll just resort to magic, which brings me to my next point, spells. Now, like I already said, I love using magic, and they are split up into 5 different categories. Alteration, Illusion, Destruction, Restoration, and Conjuration. Alteration and Illusion spells are spells that affect you or the enemy. Destruction is exactly what it says it is. Restoration is exactly what it says it is, and Conjuration, which can summon the dead or summon creatures. And lastly, J'zargo.
That's literally all it says in the notes, it's just J'zargo. And that's all the time I've gotten for now. Now, if you excuse me, I have to get out of bed and do some things So, Merry Christmas and thank you for watching.
Jazargo hopes to find things that will make him a more powerful mage here.
Maybe a few more hours of Skyrim.